Hello, all, and welcome to another Sci-Fi Fantasy Saturday. Today, we're going to unbox Remix from Marvel and WizKids. This is based on Fantasy Realms. What is that? Well, that is this game right here, which basically is a kind of a deck builder of sort, basically a hand builder. You're going to be collecting cards and trying to arrange them in such a way that you're going to maximize your victory points. And these cards play off each other in various ways. You know, some cards have bonuses based on certain types, some have special powers, some have negative points or positive points. And so it's basically a hand building game to maximize your points. The game is relatively simple to play. However, you know, the scoring can be a little complex at the end. And so this Fantasy Realms kind of started off this idea. And then it was brought into a board game, Red Rising, which is based on a series of books based on the novels by Pierce Brown. And they took this core concept of trying to do combination of cards for scoring effect, but then they added a whole layer of a board game, again, based on the theme of Red Rising by Pierce Brown. So what is Remix then? Well, Remix took Fantasy Realms and have taken it to the Marvel universe. Look at the back of the box here, as we can see. Um, it says Remix is based on the acclaimed Fantasy Realms, also by Bruce Glasgow, which was nominated for the 2001 Kinderspiel des Jahres. So let's take a look inside the box and see what we have in here. Boop, 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 boop. And as I said, this is mainly a card game. Now, Fantasy Realms really just had a single deck of cards, and what they've done with some of these other games, when I say other, there's going to be more games that we're going to be looking at in this Fantasy Realms spinoff. They've added another deck to deal with. So here's the rules here. We got the introduction. You have 61 remix cards and 10 villain cards and one score pad. Again, the most complicated thing about this game is the scoring, okay? And that's consistent with the way Fantasy Realms was devised. When I was saying that you added an extra deck of cards, you have the remix cards, which are most of the cards, and you have these villains. That adds a whole nother, adds a little bit extra a theme to this game here. Here is your overview. As you can see, there's a lot of different icons and the like in here because you're going to be matching these symbols. They're not necessarily suits as much as they are. You want to match things that give you points, or you want to make sure you exclude things out of your hands that have minus points. Here's how you do setup here. Here's how you do turns, and basically, as I said earlier, the game is relatively simple. You're going to start with a hand of cards. You're always going to have that same amount of cards, and you're either going to draw a card or pull a card that's on the table. And once a certain number of cards get on the table, I think it's like 10, the game's over. So you kind of have control over when the game ends, because if you discard a lot of cards, then that's going to end the game because there's going to be a certain number of cards on the table. So you're either going to draw or draw from the deck or draw from what's face up, and then you're going to discard a card. So there you have it. At the end game, you have common game turns. And again, a lot of this is going to play off on the scoring, like if you have a card with a card, it's a bonus for each. Blanks and less. Blanks means it like eliminates or cancels out the scoring or the point value of that card, and so that's something you got to watch out. You don't want to have that stuck in your deck or your final hand for scoring. Here's your scoring hands, and here's a scoring example. As I said, the scoring is by far the most complicated thing about this game. Then you have an FAQ. So not a lot of rules here. I mean, that's the rules. Again, this game is really, really simple to get started. Here's your scoring pad. Got a nice thick pad for scoring here. And they're dual-sided. Gotta like that. Have a little filler there. And then we have my daily intake of silica. Then we have villain cards and we have remix cards. So let's get inside the deck. Let's go into the remix first and see what we have. As I said, this Fantasy Realms just had the one deck, so it would just been with these. This game, you add in a villain, and I think you might start off with one in your hand, and they're going to modify things as well, but it's kind of a themed thing, I think, here. So here are your cards. So they're going to have a point value, but then they're also going to have some modifiers on it. Like this is +5 for each card that you have that has that symbol, right? And that's the Black Panther symbol there. And so in a lot of these cards, you're going to have different symbols, and then that's how you like transform with another one of those. And transform is a special ability that's unique to this game. +2 for every other hero. So all these are heroes. So you're going to get +2 for every one you have in your final scoring hand. +4 with the vibranium shield. So you're going to try to get that specific card in here, that shield, and that will give it to you. And you got hero cards, and you're going to have ally cards, and you're going to have, what is this right here? Condition cards. You're going to have equipment. I imagine that vibranium shield will be in, there's Milgenar. I imagine that's going to be a bonus for Thor. There's a vibranium shield. And it blanks unless with a hero with that symbol. So again, it's a 9, but then it's blank unless you have a hero with that symbol. And of course, you combine it in your hand with Captain America, you get points. So see, that's how I play the +11. Look at that with the second location. So these are locations. And again, these are all things like there's the Bifrost Bridge. I mean, this is all based on, the Marvel Universe, Halls of Asgard. And so they're all kind of keeping with the theme here. Then you have, what is that right there? Maneuver. So you've got heroes, allies, conditions, equipment, locations, and maneuver. And then you're going to have, and that's basically how you're going to try to build your hand. Combining a lot of these different cards, getting that point value, but then combining it with other bonuses that are down there, or trying to avoid, being blanked, right? Because you can lose your point value if you don't have the right cards with it. I thought I opened this up. Maybe I did not open that up. It's tough. Don't have the right equipment. So, and these villains are different. This is an addition to the Fantasy Realm. Fantasy Realms, was, again, just would have the one deck. This, you have the villains. And then this is like -20 unless there's 2 or more of that. So they have the villains are probably gonna have a lot of negatives. Like there's a lot of negatives on here because they're villains. There's Juggernaut. And I think you have to have at least, I gotta go back and look at the rules. I think you have to have at least one villain in your hand. So you got 10 of these here. So there you have it. I mean, it's a relatively simple game to play, right? It's just, pick a card either from the deck or from what's face up, discard a card, and keep going until you reach 10. I believe it's 10. I think Fantasy Realms is 10. This game, let's see what we have here. See if I can find it here real quickly. Yeah. At any hand that does not have at least one hero, when there are at least 10 cards in the discard area, count your power and bonuses, and the player holding the highest scoring hand wins. Any hand that does not have at least one hero or ally and at least one villain scores 0 points. So you have to have a hero, ally, and a villain to score. So that's why there's not a lot of villains out there. So pick your villain wisely. So there you have it. That is Remix from a continuation of Fantasy Realms, which is, taking on all kinds of different iterations now. Yeah, spoiler alert, you might see another one coming up, maybe even today. Thank you so much for stopping by. The best way I know that you stop by is drop me a comment. Let me know what you think about Remix or about Fantasy Realms or even Red Rising or anything else that's on your mind. Just keep it civil. Take care. Thanks for watching.